I know part of what you kind of talked about this offseason was the need for this year everything to be about like winning. Everyone collectively, it all kind of had to be about that. Some of the talk tonight, particularly from Steve post game, was at times, I don't know if various agendas or what are getting in the way, but this team collectively needs to focus on trying to get the win. Do you feel that's wavered or it has been wavering at times this year, and particularly right now?
I mean, when you lose, like you search for why you're losing, right? Like, and for the teams that are struggling like we are to find consistency, you try to pinpoint whatever it is that is correctable or is, you know, a solution to the problem. So right now, I don't necessarily think it's agendas or um, kind of emotions getting in the way. I think it's when you're not playing well, you start to. That's like a human nature default. You start to look at like, and I will come up here and say, I need to play better. I need to shoot the ball better. I know everybody could probably speak to something that they could do better to help us win. And that's the situation we're in. So until we start winning, there's going to be more nitpicking everything to try to figure out what the solution is. And until we find it, we're going to be, sitting right here in this situation.
At this point in the year, is it hard or frustrating that there doesn't seem at least to be a clear-cut group of five guys you can put out on the court and just know, like, we can rely on these guys to build a lead, get it done, do whatever needs to be done?
Yeah, it's the nature of this team and what's kind of materialized throughout the year. We've experimented a lot, some for, forced reasons, some for us, again, just searching for an identity of what are our strengths and playing into that. And, we haven't found it collectively. So it's frustrating for sure. 30, what are we, 15, 32 games in. And, any team that is a serious, seriously competitive contender or a good team usually can answer that question. So we have to get to that point for sure before it's too late.
You've obviously hit a little bit of a rough stretch shooting. Can you pinpoint why you think so?
No, been in a situation before where, you start off hot and cool down a little bit. I, again, hold myself to a high standard and, know I need to shoot the ball better, play better, more consistent, provide that punch that, scares teams and gets us going. We've stayed somewhat competitive even, with my numbers down, but I think confidence always remains, high, and it's hard to be perfect for all 82, but you still play the same way and know that over the course of the season, the law of averages take over, and I've proven I can do that, so that's where my confidence remains.
Were you intentionally aggressive in the first quarter? You took 7 shots, and did the lineup changes to start help with that, with the looks you got?
We talked about it a little bit in practice yesterday, just around getting the ball moving a little bit. It's usually going to find the right person, and create good shots. I think I forced 2 of them in the first, the two-pointers, ironically. But I had some decent looks that didn't go down, but it started to figure out a rhythm. I think at this point it's the lineup changes. Kind of to Kendra's question, you're trying to figure it out on the fly because we're making a lot of adjustments from starting lineup and rotation perspective and all that. So I know I got to be aggressive. Doesn't mean you have to shoot it every time you touch it, but allow the threat on ball, off ball, whatever it is to create good shots for myself and for my teammates, and that was better tonight. So you just want to make some more shots.
Steph, you all tied it up, I think, twice, and it seemed like you all were going to maybe be able to come back and take the game. And what happened where it kind of slipped away again?
There are others. Obviously, they're a team. It's not just Luka, but the guys that were killing us all night. Exum hit some threes. Josh Green hit some threes. Tim Hardaway he hit a couple big ones. And then they got a lot of drives when we were sending maybe a double or not getting back in transition. So they played well, and they made the shots that kept the momentum on their side. And I think in the second quarter there was a stretch where it seemed like we were going to get over the hump and get our crowd back into it, and they hit 3 straight threes and changed the momentum again. So they played well. It wasn't like this wasn't a game where we didn't play well and lost. It was they just played better, if that makes sense, compared to how we played against. Thank you.
Steve and a couple of guys talked about the need to be more connected on defense. And I think Steve mentioned his motivation for the lineup change, partly to get CP in there to help unlock you, was the way he put it. Seems like those are things that Draymond does particularly well. Now, you guys obviously won 5 straight without him, but do you feel like these last couple games you maybe missed him in the sense that the things you guys are talking about are things that seems to be his specialties, I guess?
Yeah, we haven't talked about him much since he's been gone, for a reason, just the space and, allowing him to make the progress he needs to make. But it's not lost that when we came into the year, nobody said we were going to be a great team without Draymond. And that obviously is our belief. Like, we're way better with him because of the things that he does, when he's out. And since he's been out, we've been trying to stay competitive. And we've won some games. We lost some tough ones. But with all the players that we can throw out there and that we have, and the way that Draymond was playing before the suspension, like, it's clear he's a huge part of what we do. And we're better with him for all the intangibles and the way that he was playing. But we have to stay, competitive while he's out for us to, not lose too much ground. And I think we can still do that for sure.
Do you personally feel it in terms of trying to get the looks you're used to getting? Because you and he obviously have a unique bond on the court.
It's a little different. I've most of the off-ball stuff, especially with him, is like the point forward type looks, and then obviously not other guys have had those reps, so it's a tough transition. So yeah, but still try to be versatile enough to. I've had some games where I've played to the standard that I expect, and I've had some duds for 2, and that might happen with Draymond out there, but it is a lot easier when you have your pet plays and actions that you're used to. We've had for the last decade, but got to make the adjustments while he's out.
Is the new year like a checkpoint for you in a season? I know you mentioned something, I think it was in Oklahoma City, about wanting to correct stuff by the new year. I mean, do you view this as a time to step back and assess?
I think the situation we've been in has forced us to do that on a much more consistent basis of, it's not like you're just coming in thinking you can just keep doing the same thing and expect different results. Like, we're actively trying to figure things out and having a lot of conversations and practice in the locker room on what those adjustments need to be and how we need to correct it. But, thankfully, if you look at the standings and where we're at, it's not as, it's just realistic for us to go on a run and close some space, but you got to win games. So we have, 5 more games on the homestand. I think after this stretch, you'll know what kind of situation we're in, positively or negatively, based on how we get through this, the end of this homestand. Because at 15 and 17, like, you start to, feel a sense of urgency on where you are to try to set yourself up for being a playoff type team, which is, what we expect. We expect it coming in. We expect, moving forward.